Hey there guys, in today's video I wanted to talk about sprouting seeds for your animals. Now this can be a great option for things like birds, herbivorous reptiles, rodents, basically any animal that utilizes greens as part of its diet can benefit from getting sprouted seed as part of its diet as well. There are a lot of benefits to using sprouted seed, and it's actually pretty easy to do. So if you've ever been intimidated, or if you just want to know a little bit more about it, you want to make sure to stick around, because that's going to be coming up right after this. This is Jack over at Hi Redbird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about sprouting seed for your animals. This is something that a lot of people get really excited about, but can also get a little bit intimidated about. So I wanted to go ahead and cover why you might want to sprout seed, and then we're going to just jump into how easy it is, because from start to finish, from seed to having nice sprouts that you can feed your animal, you're going to be looking at less than a week worth of time to make that happen, less than a few minutes a day to make that happen. But the first question we need to cover is, why do you want to sprout seed? Sprouted seeds are going to be pretty tender. They're very easy for a lot of animals to digest, and seeds themselves aren't really the best at being digested. In fact, for a lot of seeds, they completely survive passing through an animal's digestive tract. In fact, the digestive action on those seeds is actually what scarifies them enough to germinate and grow into nice, healthy plants. So all of the energy that that plant is going to use to grow from a seed isn't going towards your animal. That seed is holding on to it as it passes through the animal's digestive tract. By sprouting these seeds, we make that energy, all of that nutrition, accessible to your animal. It makes it a lot easier to feed your animal, and it also can be something that definitely gets their attention. In the wild, a lot of animals are going to gravitate towards the new shoots, the tender growth on plants, because again, it's a lot easier to break down, to digest, and get that nutrition from it. Now, you do have a lot of different options when it comes to the type of seed you want to grow and sprout for your animals. There are a lot of different options on what materials you can use to make this happen. There are actually some really nice setups that you can use for sprouting seed for your animals, but the video today is going to cover the basics of sprouting seed. So I am going to show you how to sprout seed using materials that you can probably get at your local grocery store. If you have a hard time finding these materials, I will also put a list of these items in the description section down below, so you guys can just order them online if that is easier for you. I know sometimes some of the seed mixes and things can be a little bit harder to find, but I did just want to go ahead and let you guys know all of that information will be down there. So without further ado, let's jump into how we're going to be sprouting seed for our animals. Alright guys, now the materials needed to sprout seeds for your animals are reasonably straightforward. For this, I'm going to be using a mason jar. That consists of the jar itself, the twist-on ring, and the top. The top is removable, and in this instance, I will be taking it off and replacing it with a piece of cheesecloth. That cheesecloth is going to give me the ability to rinse and drain my sprouts so that they aren't going to rot while they're in the jar. If you want to sprout seeds, obviously you're going to need some type of seed mix. I really like this one. It's a salad mix. It includes things like broccoli, radish, and alfalfa seeds to sprout, so it does really well. And I wanted to show you guys with just 1 tablespoon of seed, I'm actually going to be able to fill this entire jar. So I'm going to go ahead, put 1 tablespoon of that seed mix in the jar, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fill that with water. I want to give my seeds the ability to soak overnight. That increases the success and the speed at which they sprout. So I'm going to go ahead, soak them overnight. I'll put that cheesecloth in place. When I put the cheesecloth in place, I usually like to push in the center just a little bit so it sinks in just a little bit. That's going to make it a lot easier when it comes to fill the seeds with water every single day. But now that I have this all done and set up, I can pop this in the fridge. The next morning, I'm going to go ahead and drain all of that water out of the jar. I want to make sure that my seeds, aren't sitting in water. They are going to rot if that happens. So I go ahead and I will drain all of that moisture. Then I'm going to go ahead, fill the jar. I recommend filling the jar pretty close to the top. What's going to happen as your seeds start sprouting, some of them might start to stick to the sides. Filling this jar up gives you the opportunity to make sure everything is getting adequately hydrated. Once you have the jar full, go ahead, give it a little bit of a stir. Obviously, you don't want to shake it so hard that you are potentially damaging the sprouts, but you definitely want to try to agitate them a little bit and get any surplus dust, detritus, anything off of them. Depending on the type of seeds you are using, you may want to rinse them 1 to 2 additional times. Now for this, you guys can see I am using tap water straight from the tap. I am not using filtered water. I am not adding any additives to these seeds. And I am accepting not every single seed is going to sprout. But with just this, you can have pretty good luck. Once your seeds are adequately watered, I'm going to go ahead, drain that surplus moisture, spread the seeds so they have as much room, they can get as much light, and then I'm just going to use 2 dish towels to prop them up. One of them holding up the base so that it's at a bit of an angle so any excess moisture will drain towards that cheesecloth, and then another one flat on the counter just to absorb that surplus moisture from the cheesecloth. The very next day, we're going to do the exact same thing. We've left these seeds sitting on the counter. By the very next day, you're going to start to see the very tiniest bit of some sprouts. So again, like before, you want to go ahead, fill them up, agitate them gently to rinse them, and then go ahead and drain all of that surplus moisture away from your sprouts. This is going to be the rinse and repeat method, literally, that we are going to be using for the entire duration of growing our sprouts. By day 3, you guys can see that we are already starting to get some new tender leaves. You're going to see a lot of green in the jar. Sprouting happens very, very quickly. So it's really, really rewarding. The first day or so, you're going to wonder, is this ever going to work? Especially if you have never sprouted seeds before. But within 2 to 3 days, you're going to have an amazing feeling of accomplishment. By day 4, you guys can see that we have already almost completely filled this jar. Now, you could actually stop right here, but I think I can get a little bit more growth from my seeds. Now, obviously, the longer you're leaving them on the counter, the longer you are getting them wet, setting them back on the counter, there is a chance that they could start to go bad. What you want to do is you want to pay attention to them. If you see anything that looks concerning, any mold or black spots on the seed, if you're noticing a very unpleasant odor, a moderately unpleasant odor, I would go ahead and not use them. But by day 5, you can see this jar is packed to the top with just 1 tablespoon of seed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead, remove that cheesecloth. I'm going to go ahead and use the top to the mason jar that we went ahead and saved. And then I can go ahead and pop this thing of sprouts into the fridge, and I can actually use this for the next 2 to 3 days. Again, they are a fresh product. They don't have a very long shelf life, so you want to use them pretty quickly. But you guys can see this was pretty easy to do. All right, guys, so as you can see, that is pretty straightforward. Pretty easy to do. It's not much of a time commitment. It doesn't take a high skill set. It's definitely something you can do very easily to benefit your animal. Now you do have a lot of different options here. If you wanted to incorporate those sprouts as part of your animal's daily diet, obviously you could just sprout enough seed to cover a few days. You could have a rotation of jars with seed in them. If you start a new one every day, every other day, it's all going to depend on your individual bird, your collection, just how much you're feeding in terms of sprouts. It can definitely be done so that you always have fresh sprouts readily available for your bird. It can also be something that you do once a week, once every 2 weeks, once when you just want to give your animal a different type of enrichment. Not only can these be a regular part of your bird's diet or your reptiles diet, your rodents diet, but these can also be a great enrichment item as well for a wide variety of animals. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. Definitely think about the different ways that you can provide for your animals in that way. Again, if you guys have a hard time finding any of the materials used for sprouting these seeds, I will put links to them in the description section down below so that you guys can find that. I do want to thank you all so much for watching this video. If you like videos like this that show you how to take better care of your animals, coming up with new ways to make their lives more exciting, more enriching, then you want to make sure that you subscribe to the Hi Redbird YouTube channel. That way you don't miss out on any of these videos. If you thought this video in particular was helpful, you want to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It definitely helps other people find these videos, and one of my main goals here is just for everyone who wants the information to be able to find it, so you definitely help me out by doing that. I do want to thank you all so much once again for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
I do need to say a special thank you to my patrons on Patreon. By signing up to support this channel, they help me make more tutorials and videos showcasing animal care possible. If you'd like to find out more about subscribing to my Patreon, you can find the link in the description section down below. Thanks so much.